All the carols are good otherwise.
Oh, and Charlotte's daughter is
for stewardship. I didn't either. They brought in a shipment.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think we may be lingering a little bit.
Gonna linger longer.
At coffee hour, we're gonna linger longer, and I'm sure there's going to be some stewardship talk. So, I mean, it's the whole committee. They so much food. Larry, Phil Driscoll, Suzanne Butcher, Glenn Powers, Elizabeth England, and those five. So we may just be beyond 11, that's all I'm saying. We could still meet. So.
And yeah, I guess I don't want to interfere with the stewardship. Said anything, say absent, because I was doing the like say something.
Probably Sharon, if you want to do it for
Yeah. Good. And the important people are the people who are going to lead something.
Right.
Right? I mean, it would be lovely to have a
plan
bunch
to
of
be
people.
there. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it's really, and then I'll send out an email to say, okay, here's what we've got. Anybody else want to lead something?
Yeah.
Have ideas?
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
I hear bells. I won't touch your water, I promise. It's your water. You should put a little bit of something, like they put in a little, what would you call it, like a, what am I thinking of? Well, like one of those things that keeps it cold, you know what I mean?
Oh, like a little metal dish.
Yeah, something like that. Like this, we could use that. Am I on? One more time.
Hold it in the flat in the palm of your hand. And then, there we go.
Good morning. One more time. Good morning. That's more like it. Welcome to our service of the Keene Unitarian Universalist Church, or KUUC, coming to you from our historic 1824 sanctuary. Say hello, everyone, on our youtube.com live stream. Now celebrating first day of meteorological spring. Yay! National Women's Month. Many civil rights observances, LGBTQIA+ rights, concerns, and contributions, as always, and our recertification as a welcoming congregation. You are welcome here. No matter who you are, whom you love, wherever you are on this life's journey, you are welcome. Our community is made up of the richness of persons from many backgrounds, of various gender identities and life experiences. My name is Sherry, a musician, instructor, practitioner of the arts, an ally to all of my friends and colleagues, a member of our music and worship committees. For me, these most recent 2 years have happily featured my friendship and fellowship with this wonderful congregation. I'm reminded here that love's reach is vast and varied, that without the artistic influences of so many cultures and lifestyles, so much of the music and art I love would not exist. And that I would not exist if not for the meeting of many ethnicities. So once more I say to you, welcome. Come join us. Come on in. The coffee's great. A big thank you also to our property committee and others who have preserved our building over the winter and our way of worship in it. Thank you. Please sign our guest book located here in our sanctuary and join us for refreshments after the service in our parish hall through the door to my right. Today's coffee hour is hosted by our stewardship committee. We have a special one today. Each week we designate an ambassador whom you can ask anything about our church, our faith, our community. Today, our ambassador is Wynne Sargent. We welcome all children in our services along with their sacred sounds. Your cell phones, however, we like better when silenced so that we may be fully present with each other. May you find personal inspiration each week from our services and a wide variety of events and activities. Get all the details and learn how to donate at www.kuuc.org. Did I mention great coffee? Please contact Andy Johnson or Rebecca McCoy when she returns at the end of the month, our co-chairs of our worship committee, to play a role in our services as welcomer, chalice lighter, service setup person, coffee hour coordinator, etc. We need your personal contributions to this shared community to maintain our service's success. Take heart, everyone, for we're strong. We have a safe haven in which to protect each other and thrive. Our weather forecast, excuse me, in my opinion, is hope with a healthy dash of love and warmth. The tenderness of spring renders so many things melting. The wax of a comforting candle, our hearts for a worthy and noble cause. And what's that I hear? Why, it's the sound of the crackling and bending of nature as its frozen enemy gives way. And you know who you are. Be gone from our land, O frosty pestilence, we say. Today in our pulpit, we are pleased to have our very own Reverend Rowan Van Ness, who will remind us that we work best together as a community when combining our gifts, knowledge, love, and life's callings.
Good morning. I wanted to start with a little bit of an announcement, which is that if you have not yet read The Messenger, keep your eyes peeled for something in particular, which is actually about the March 15th worship service. So that's the next service that I will be doing here with you all. And it's going to be a different kind of service than I think most of you have experienced in this sanctuary. It's called a question box service, or sometimes called a question and answer service. So the invitation is for each and all, any of you who are interested, to submit a question to me on theology, on ethics, on why do bad things happen to good people, on whatever it is that's on your heart and mind. What do I think about parenting today? What is it? I don't know. So pose your questions to me, and then I'm going to collect them and kind of try and categorize them and address them as best I can in a special service in 2 weeks. So the information about that and my email address and everything is in the messenger. So feel free to submit your questions. Our opening words this morning come to us from the Reverend Beth Miller, but as I was chatting with her, she was saying, you know, this is just her version of these words. These words have been said many times, but in many ways by many people. The church exists to serve the world, not to draw people in to serve the church. We know a church has to grow to survive and thrive, but this is actually a side benefit of fulfilling our purpose, which is to increase love and justice in the world. May it be so. At this time, we're going to have our chalice lighting. Oliver Hicks is not here with us this morning, so Elizabeth England is going to light our chalice in his stead. And the rest of you can find the chalice lighting words printed in your order of service. We kindle this flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
Got all my things here. Good morning. I am here on behalf of the Stewardship Committee to welcome you and to give you the first of our weekly stewardship messages that you'll be hearing for the rest of this month. Those of you who have been here for a while have heard me talk about what this church means to me. It is a place where I feel that I belong. This place and its people have held me in bad times and have celebrated with me in good times. This is my community. This is my home. We often talk about the many ways we can serve this church in time, in talent, and in treasure. And while all of those forms of service are equally important and valued, today I'm here to talk a little bit about treasure. Today, as we start our month of stewardship towards building our budget for the coming year, I want to raise an issue that is going to be hard to hear and is also hard for me to talk about. We have been living beyond our means. For many years, we have been using money from our endowment to help balance our operating budget. Over the last decade or more, we have seen the constitution of our church change and our building requiring more and more attention. 2 years ago, we made the decision to go from a full-time minister to a part-time minister. And even with that change, we are still using the endowment to balance our modest operating budget. Rather than letting our endowment grow to allow expenses, like a new heating system, the regular use of our endowment for operating expenses has left us in a challenging situation. Now, I do not want this stewardship moment to be all doom and gloom. In the last 2 years, I have seen the most wonderful changes in our church, with new friends and members bringing their energy and their new ideas, with longtime members returning to us with renewed spirit and involvement. We have worked together to make shared ministry not just happen, but happen successfully. We have worked together to celebrate our achievements and to mourn our losses. More friends and members are stepping forward with many roles, to help with the many roles of making this congregation successful and sustainable. I think we are recognizing that we are the church, and that together we make this congregation the wonderful place that it is and can be. The guiding idea of this year's stewardship campaign is shared ministry, shared commitment. Today at coffee hour, the stewardship committee will have a small table set up to distribute pledge envelopes. If you are new or have not pledged in the past, I invite you to come to this table and to get one of our stewardship brochures and information on pledging. Your pledge helps us to build a thoughtful budget that will support us through the coming year. If you've pledged in the past, there is very likely an envelope with your name on it for you to pick up. I ask you, in considering your pledge for the coming year, to think about all that this church and its community means to you, all that we have done and have yet to do, and to, as we have often said in the past, give till it feels good. Please rise with me in body and spirit and sing hymn number 1000 from the Teal Hymnal, Morning Has Come.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to God.
Looks like I'm going to be speaking to the young at heart today. My name is Shelley Woodson. I'm the Religious Exploration Coordinator, and I have a book for you today called Bud Finds Her Gift. And this is by, and forgive my pronunciation skills on these various words, Robin Wall Kimmerer. Sound good? And illustrated by Naoko Stoop. This includes some words in Potawatomi. Bud finds her gift. There once was a little child called Bud who was very good at noticing. She is noticing stuff? Yes, a lot to notice. She noticed the shapes of clouds, the smell of cookies baking, and even where Daddy had left his keys, which is handy. And she noticed that everyone always had something important to do, everyone but her. So she went to talk to Nokomis, I believe that's Potawatomi for grandmother. Everyone is doing big, important things, Bud told her grandmother. I want to do something big and important too. Nokomis nodded. Come with me tomorrow morning and we'll do something very important indeed. Bud's heart soared. Soon she would be able to do a big thing, but what would it be? What could it be? At sunrise, Bud and Nokomis walked uphill to stand beside a tall tree. Some little deer there following them around, butterflies. Raising her arms in the new light, Nokomis said, Good morning, morning. Thank you for the gift of this day. Thank you, birds and trees and dew and flowers. Thank you for all the gifts we are given. Bud watched and waited. Then she asked, Will we do the important thing soon? Nokomis laughed. This is the important thing. Taking time for noticing and saying thank you for the gifts of the earth. Gifts, said Bud. I don't see bags or boxes. These gifts don't come in bags or boxes. They come from the earth. Look here, Nokomis showed Bud a strawberry. It was the sweetest thing Bud had ever tasted. Is this one of the gifts, Nokomis? You're very good at noticing, my little Bud, Nokomis replied. Now notice more. Notice with your eyes and ears and fingers and listen with your heart. Try it tomorrow and see what happens. The next morning, Bud stood by the same tall tree, noticing as hard as she could. Noticing with her eyes, noticing with her eyes, she saw the colors of the sky. Noticing with her toes, she felt the dewy grass. Noticing with her ears, she heard a beautiful bird song. Listening with her heart, she heard the birds sing. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. I was given the gift of this song, so I will share it with you all morning long. The music drifting from the treetop did feel like a gift. Thank you, Robin, Bud said. Bud watched Robin pick up a bit of moss and carry it to a branch. Noticing with her eyes, she saw the moss growing, shiny and green. Noticing with her fingers, she found it soft like cloth. And listening with her heart, she heard the moss chant. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. Being soft and green is what I do best, so I share with the birds to make a warm nest. You give gifts to birds, Bud said, and we all get to hear their songs. Thank you, Moss. Now Robin was eating strawberries. Everyone likes berries, Bud thought. Then Robin pooped on the soil. You know it's a good kid's book when it includes poop, right? The little pile of poop made Bud laugh and Shelley laugh. But she noticed it was full of strawberry seeds, seeds Robin had just planted. Listening through her laughter, she heard the little poop trill. Everyone from the moment of birth is given a gift to share with the earth. Even bird poop is a gift for the berries, for the special delivery of seeds that it carries. Thank you, poop, she said, and then giggled. Oh, this is awesome. Bud kept noticing. She noticed the soil holding the seeds and seeds growing up to make leaves. She noticed caterpillars eating the leaves, butterflies pollinating flowers, flowers becoming berries, and mushrooms turning everything back to soil. Everyone played a part, giving gifts to one another all the time, each gift leading to the next. The more Bud noticed, the more thankful she became. Saying thank you for all these gifts was very important indeed, but was it enough? It was time to talk to Nokomis again. Did you find gifts, Nokomis asked. I saw birds and moss and butterflies, Bud said. They each have a little gift to share, even bird poop planted seeds. I want to be part of it too and give a gift as well, but I can't make nests or leaves or berries. Nokomis, what is my gift? Nokomis hugged her. Don't think of all the things you can't do. Notice instead what you can do. Those are your gifts, my dear. Bud thought about Nokomis's words. She began to notice herself. Bud noticed her arms and her legs. She noticed her voice. Suddenly, Bud began to sing. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. She picked up her shovel. I was given the gift of hands and knees, so I'll share them with all by planting more trees. Bud noticed happiness growing inside of her. She's there planting a tree. Bud kept singing. I was given the gift of my words to remind us to care for the bees and the birds. I was given the gift of my art, and I will share it with you, and so we'll all do our part. Get a little pollinator garden sign there. I was given the gift of seeing, so I will share it with people to watch out for all beings. So they've got a community garden going on there. Bud called Nokomis, I found my big important thing to do. I have gifts to give too. Well done, my little Bud, Nokomis said. Now listen again with your heart. What do you hear? Bud listened. It was as if everyone, including Robin, the moss, and even the little poop was singing. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. You will know that your gift is true. When you hear the heart, be thankful for you. The end. If y'all want to sing me out, you're welcome to. I'll be heading that way.
Good morning. I'm Tom Julius, your reader for today. And we have an offertory reading, an excerpt from Decolonizing Wealth by Edgar Villanueva. Materially, money is a bit of nickel, zinc, copper. It's a little linen, mostly cotton, some ink. It's basically Kleenex adorned with dead presidents. Actually, today, mostly it's a series of zeros and ones, bytes and bits of data on screens, imaginary, harmless. And in fact, the Bible doesn't say money's the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. In other words, when we let it be more important than life, relationships, and humanity. I'm not saying there aren't problems with money when it's hoarded, controlled, used to divide people, to oppress and dominate. But that's not the money's fault. Inherently, it's value neutral. Humans have used money We've allowed it to divide us. That is a sin. We forget that we humans made money up out of thin air as a concept, a tool for a complex society, a placeholder for aspects of human relations. We forget that we gave money its meaning and its power. Money is like water. Water can be a precious, life-giving resource. But what happens when water is dammed, or when a water cannon is fired on protesters in sub-zero temperatures? Money should be a tool of love to facilitate relationships, to help us thrive, rather than hurt and divide us. If it's used for sacred, life-giving, restorative purposes, it can be medicine. And now we have the offering for today and the offertory music, Come Sunday by Duke Ellington.
Please join me in the offering dedication found in your order of service. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to actively create compassionate community and work for a fair and peaceful world. In just a moment, we will be having our time of joys and sorrows, inviting anyone who has something on their heart who'd like to share with the larger community to come forward down the sides and to place a rock into the water. You may also do so silently if you wish, and you may also raise a hand if you'd like someone to bring the microphone to you. Just a reminder that to keep your words brief. And I think I had another reminder for you, which I've forgotten. So, that's a good one. If you're talking about somebody else, be sure you have their permission. And I remember now what I was going to say. If you wouldn't mind just sharing your first name before you speak, that helps us in the congregation and those online know who you are, so that we can hold your joys, your sorrows, your concerns alongside you. You may come forward.
I didn't ask the person that I'm going to speak about for permission. But this article was in the newspaper, so I presume it's okay for me to talk about it. Tom Haynes, our wonderful, illustrious usher, has also written a book which is going to be at the American Historical Society March 11th for signing at 6:30. And we are so proud. I was so proud to claim him as a friend and a member of our church. So I feel like we should really support this exciting news. A published author in our midst.
Hi, I'm Carolina, and I have a joy today. For the last 3 weeks, I stepped into the role of the office administrator here at the church, and thank you. And I just feel a lot of gratitude for the people that have stepped up to help me figure out how to do this job. Susan left quite the big shoes to fill, and I didn't talk to people to ask them if it's okay to mention their names, but there was a good number of people that just showed up at the office and said, well, I know how to do this, let me show you how to do it. And so I'm just feeling very grateful that this community, and it takes a village, has stepped up and helped me feel very good at doing this job. I love doing it, and so just to thank folks that have helped me on this journey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina. I wanted to let you know about something that's happening next Sunday. There's a woman named Becky Field who lives in Concord, New Hampshire, who's a photographer. She has created a number of exhibits around the state of New Hampshire that are centered around immigrants and history of immigration in New Hampshire. There's also one that's about a person who was held captive and is still being held here in the United States, basically due to his immigration status. And then there are some other exhibits that she does that are just joyful exhibits showing various immigrants and culture groups that live here in New Hampshire. So she will be, I've been working with Gail down at the Multicultural Center, and we are going to have a couple of exhibits actually here in Keene. One of them will be here at our church, so down in the Keene Multicultural Center. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be helping her set it up downstairs. And we will on Sunday, Mickey is doing the service next Sunday, and at the end of the service, you'll get to hear Becky speak a little bit about her exhibit, and then she'll be downstairs. This is kind of an announcement, but it's actually a joy, so thank you for letting me take the time. She'll be downstairs, and we will have our coffee hour, and then we will invite people to go down. Obviously, the Multicultural Center can't hold all of us at once, so we'll ask people to just kind of go down in small groups. And please come next Sunday so that you can meet her and see all the wonderful photographs. The other place that we're looking at is the co-op, and they've been very cooperative with us in terms of getting the history of immigration set up there. And then we're looking at a third place here in Keene also. We really, my joy is that, there's the concern about what is going on, which there's so many concerns. But the joy is that we also have people coming together to celebrate all of the folks and people that are still here that make our country and our state so diverse and you know, I don't know, I could go on for a while, but I'll stop. So I'm just very grateful, and I had kind of second thoughts about saying this because of YouTube and everything, but I think it's time for us to come out of the shadows and say, this is who we are, and this is what we support. And I know that all of you here do support our multicultural center, so thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Stacy, and I have a joy to share. On November the 24th last year, I found myself somewhere I never thought I'd be, and that was the 100 Nights Homeless Shelter. And I've been there for the past few months. I thought it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, and it has turned out to be one of the greatest blessings. I have found many opportunities to use my career skills to help others. I've started a peer support program. I met the executive director of the New Hampshire Commission to End Homelessness, who invited me to take the Granite Leaders Training Program to advocate for the homeless with the legislative decision makers. And I got an apartment, and I moved next week. So I want to thank Deb and all of the friendly members of this congregation who have welcomed me when I visited while here in Keene, and Carol, who I see once a week, serves me breakfast. Only one sausage. I always wanted two, but thank you, Carol. Anyway, I wanted to share that joy with you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa. It's good to see you all this morning. I have a sorrow and a joy to share. The sorrow is my Uncle Jack died last week. He was my father's cousin. And my joy is I can picture Uncle Jack and Dad hanging out and reliving all of their childhood misadventures. So, thank you.
My name is David. I'm the guy who streams the program back there. I have a joy. I mean, I have many joys. We had an open mic last night over here in the parish hall. We had some poetry reading, guitar playing, some jokes. It's really good. Every once a month, the last Saturday, 6 o'clock. But one thing I did recently is stop looking at social media. I would be one of those, I think they call it doom scrolling. And I didn't realize how much it was causing me grief. And in the last month and a half since I've stopped, I've had all this energy. I'm not taking naps in the afternoon. I've been building speakers in my basement, you know, the old cabinet style ones. Made one for my living room, my bedroom, my daughter. So I'm enough with the speakers. But anyway, that's just my story, and it's amazing. I know we have to keep up with the news, but the doom scrolling was something I had to definitely get rid of. But that's a joy. Thank you.
Hello, still Tom. My spouse Barbara Bryce isn't with us today because she is fulfilling her role as grand auntie in Iowa for our new grandnephew Atlas. And so if you haven't seen enough pictures of adorable babies, come see me during the Stewardship Coffee Hour. And then after the Stewardship Coffee Hour, let me just say first that I'm really grateful. A joy for me is what beautiful seasons we have that seem to help us, forget all the other seasons and then, look forward to the next one. So if you want to help celebrate the seasons. After the Stewardship Coffee Hour this morning, the KUC Outdoors will be doing our planning for this coming year, so come join us up in the Alliance Room, about 11:30-ish.
I'm Wendy, and I have on my mind my brother-in-law, who I've been very close to since I was 16, and he is Iranian, and I haven't even been able to talk to him yet about how our family in Iran, and particularly in Tehran, but in other places in Iran, are doing after the strikes that have happened in the last couple days. So I wanted to have you join me in holding them deeply in our hearts, and also to find your way of not being numb or inactive in regard to our government having made this terrible decision, really illegally against the way our country is set up to engage in such war. So, thank you.
I'm Deborah. I have a concern. I've expressed it before, but it's come back, and that is that my daughter is an immigrant from China. She is a full United States citizen, but she has to carry her passport with her every day and her certificate of citizenship with her on her phone so that, God forbid, something happens, she can prove her citizenship. So most days I'm able to keep the fear down pretty well, but then there are other days when it crops back up. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Elizabeth, and my concern is more of a sorrow that we have become again a country of war, and that we not forget the people of the Ukraine and Palestine who are living with this, and also Iran, and that we must step up and say when we believe it's wrong. My joy is Rokan's in town, and so anyone who steps up makes me joyful, so thank you.
I know that all of us have joys and sorrows on our hearts, even if we haven't spoken them before the whole community. So I'm going to put a final stone in representing the joys that we carry, and another stone for all of the sorrows and concerns, local, international, of all scales. Please join in singing response number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
Thank you, Donna, Carl, and Susie. Our next reading, The Church That Doesn't Matter, by Reverend Kelly Weissman Asproof Jackson. In the church that doesn't matter, there are no quarrels, no arguments, and no one ever says anything they regret at the meeting to discuss the sanctuary's new paint color. There is nothing to inspire such passionate intensity because none of the decisions of the church touch anyone's heart, and no one lives or dies by its choices or even feels for a moment like they might. Everything is easy as pie. In a church that doesn't matter, no one has to ask for money or even talk about it much. There's always enough to go around. There's always enough because no matter how much there is always less to do with it than that. The vision always shrinks to undermatch the money. So canvas season is always a breeze. In the church that doesn't matter, no one ever disagrees with the preacher's sermons. The music is always just fine. Here it's always better than fine. There is never a fight about the liturgy, not even if they do joys and sorrows, and not even if they stop doing joys and sorrows. There's never any controversy because no one ever says anything they really care about. And no one else ever seems to care. Because of this, the service is always equally inoffensive at 9, 10, or 11 o'clock. The sounds of children during worship, the recruitment of Sunday school teachers, the compensation of professional religious educators, the size and the condition of space dedicated to religious education, none of these things are ever talked about or thought about in the church that doesn't matter. Those issues just seem to take care of themselves somehow. No one ever has to clean up in the church that doesn't matter, or figure out the old electrical system, or consult the building codes, or climb a ladder. If no one bothers to make coffee on Sunday, no one complains. And if no one greets the visitors, no one seems to mind. Everything is easier in the church that doesn't matter. The total solution to all the frustrations of congregational life requires no consultants, manuals, webinars. Simply avoid at all costs meaning and purpose, and anything that might lead you to either or both. Whatever you do, do not let yourself care about the people around you or the covenant you share. Yet, knowing this, we still decide again and again to ask tough questions, to take real risks, to do work that needs doing, and to tell the truth. We get out of bed on Sunday morning, we answer that email, we make something imperfect but still sweet for the coffee hour, and we give our time and our attention to meeting every third Thursday for some committee meeting. We ask each other how we're doing, and we mean it. We make phone calls and craft projects. We offer our gifts, both humble and great, and we do these things, sometimes in joy and sometimes not in joy, because they are done in the service of a church that matters to us.
Ministry that matters takes commitment. I've been thinking a lot about the purpose and opportunity of UU congregations in this time. Why does what we do matter? How do we serve the world and increase love and justice in the world when there's so much work to do just to keep the institution of church running? How do we stay relevant? Some of what any congregation of any religious tradition does is timeless. We honor and celebrate the milestones in people's lives, the births of babies, the weddings, the memorial services. We show up for one another. But still, many people take for granted that religious institutions exist and just pop on to the local one for a wedding or a funeral as needed, without tending to the ongoing work of being a part of a religious community. You all know this. Our lives are busy, especially for those of us who are working multiple jobs to make ends meet, or trying to parent in these days of intensive parenting, or caring for elderly parents or spouses or grandchildren. Many of you who are retired also seamlessly fill up your plates, working on things you care about, things that make the world a better place. Ministry that matters takes commitment, and we cannot do it alone. We need to share the ministry and share the commitment. We are better together than when we are alone. And given that there is so much pulling at our time and our money and our lives, a shared sense of purpose can help us streamline our efforts. When I worked as a religious educator, I encountered a book called Think Orange, Imagine the Impact When Church and Family Collide, by Reggie Joyner. I looked up the book summary, and this is what it is. Families and churches are working hard to build faith in kids, but imagine the potential results when two environments synchronize, maximizing their individual efforts. What can the church do to empower the family, and how can the family emphasize the work of the church? They can think orange. So it's looking at what if the mission of what it is that families are trying to do and the mission of what congregations are trying to do, what if they were aligned? What if they were in support of and in service of the same thing instead of pulling away from one another? What if we were helping one another? And what if this were applied more broadly than just for the kids and the parents in this congregation, but imagining that each and every one of you has some mission or purpose in your own life, and how is this congregation supporting that or helping you live that more deeply? And how are you, in turn, helping and supporting this congregation live more deeply into its own mission, feeding two birds with one seed? For me, that is what shared ministry is all about. It's about being able to, people being able to recognize and share their gifts in meaningful ways. It's about people supporting one another and learning to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. And it's recognizing that each and every person who comes through these doors or any of the doors of this building, each and every person really matters. And it's finding ways to open ourselves up to the hopes and concerns and sorrows of each and every one of us, and supporting one another. And part of shared ministry is in how this congregation uses its shared resources and money. This congregation offers food to one another and to the food pantry, knowing that we all experience times when money is tighter and other times when it's more abundant. We know that this congregation is engaged in learning about and working together with people from a variety of different religious backgrounds through our Monadnock Interfaith Project. We know that this congregation contributes towards a ministerial discretionary fund, so that when any person is in a time of trouble and needs just a little money to make ends meet, to pay that phone bill, to pay that heating bill, that they can come to me or to the treasurer in my absence and request that extra bit of assistance to help. We know this congregation is striving to live out its values through paying and compensating its staff, its myself, as well as we can. We cook breakfast for our neighbors, and that this congregation has been an incubator of community programs like the like the Multicultural Center, and offering ongoing spaces for people in recovery. Money should be a tool of love to facilitate relationships, to help us thrive rather than hurt and divide us. If it's used for sacred, life-giving, restorative purposes, it can be medicine. I can see the work that you are already doing, you're already putting into this, and it makes a difference in your lives and in the lives of the people in the broader Keene community. And one of the things that's unique about UU congregations, but not just to us, but also to other congregations with congregational polity, like our Congregationalist and United Church of Christ cousins and Baptists, we all govern ourselves and we own our own buildings, rather than a diocese or a presbytery or some outside group of people. You, the members, own this building, and you get to decide on the goals, the hopes, the dreams of what is possible for this congregation. And one of the things that really impresses me about this congregation is how seriously you take that. I once tried coming up with a list of who are the people that I know are really deeply involved in this congregation in some way or another. Not just like a little bit involved, but like really deeply involved. And I came up with at least 20 people, and those are just the people that came up on the top of my mind. I know that so many of you are working hard here. We know that a church has to grow to survive and thrive, but this is actually the side benefit of fulfilling our purpose, which is to increase love and justice in the world. If we sharpened our focus on increasing love and justice in the world, what would that look like? I started thinking about that from two different angles. If we sharpened our focus on increasing love and justice through the lens of scale, and also through the lens of focus. So first thinking about scale. So what might it look like if we were to increase love and justice in this congregation, within the congregation? Maybe would we pay attention to who is making the coffee or washing the mugs or shoveling the sidewalk, and offer our gratitude or offer to help? Maybe would you create an opportunity for the elders in the congregation to gather together, maybe once or maybe regularly once again? Or maybe would you notice if there was someone standing alone at coffee hour and try and make a point to speak to them? It doesn't have to be a monumental effort for it to be worthwhile. And if you wanted to increase love and justice within Keene as a community, as a town, city, is it a town, city? City, as a city, what might that look like? And perhaps there are things that you're already doing, showing up at a No King's Day protest. What difference might it make if there were a KUUC cohort going together? And would it make a difference to anyone? Would it matter if a banner were brought and people knew who was trying to work on these issues? Or if people showed up wearing KUUC shirts? And in this time, more than ever, what might it look like to be showing up on the scale of, to increase love and justice, on the scale of the state of New Hampshire, on the scale of our country, on the scale of our world? What does that look like? I also was thinking about, okay, what if we looked at this question differently? What if we weren't looking at, start with yourself and then the family and then the congregation? Like if we weren't looking at scale, what if we worked at focus and we just picked one thing, like the building? What would it look like if we tried to use this building that you all own and run and work really hard to maintain to increase love and justice in the world? There are ways that you're already doing it. such as the Multicultural Center, such as gathering here for all of the things that you gather here for. But are there ways that we could do it even more? What about the rooms that are empty at moments? Are there ways that maybe there are organizations in the community that are looking for places to meet? Could we make it easier for people to make use of this building? How might that make this even more a center for increasing love and justice in the world? I also thought about a different focus. So if the building was one idea, okay, what about music? People in this congregation, there's a lot of people who like singing, there's a lot of musicians. There's an organization called Singing Resistance that has risen up and been an important part of communal care and the resistance movement rising in response to this moment and time in Minnesota. And it has spread nationally. There are chapters all over the country, and it's created an opportunity for people to remain connected physically and emotionally through shared breath as they learn new songs and old songs, which helps them resist the isolating effects of fear. It draws from the wisdom of older justice movements while working on the issues of today. Today, my wife, Caitlin, and our 2 kids are joining with the Singing Resistance of Vermont group, singing outside of an ICE facility. Right now, there is no Singing Resistance chapter in New Hampshire. So I wonder who else might be thinking about this in New Hampshire? Are there other UU congregations? Are there other congregations of other denominations? Are there other people who just like to sing? And is there a role that KUUC might be able to play in this kind of thing? So taking that seed of music and saying, how can we use our love of music as a congregation to increase love and justice in the world? And maybe it's our space that we have to offer. Maybe somebody has enthusiasm that they're like, yeah, I want to go organize this thing. So maybe it's energy, and maybe that's not it. But what are those seeds that are where your passion, your personal gifts in the world might help better the goal of bringing love and justice into the world? And how can we align our own hopes as individuals with our hopes and dreams for this congregation? We are living in absurd times right now, and I know I don't even need to tell you, but I'm going to tell you a little anyway. I mean, you heard it in the joys and sorrows. We have a president who's campaigned on putting America first and has taken over Venezuela and just launched an illegal, unprovoked war in Iran. We're watching people who have come into this country legally and have committed no crimes being expedited for deportation, sometimes to countries they've never been to. And at the same time that we're sending immigrants out of the country, there are companies, industries, farms that have long relied on immigrant labor who are struggling to fill jobs that Americans don't want to or aren't skilled at or aren't willing to do. And at this time when there's more billionaires than ever before, there are also more people than in a long time who are struggling to make ends meet. And people are pointing their fingers at each other and saying, we can't have paid parental leave or universal child care because the elders are living on Social Security and can't handle another tax. And we're pointing fingers at each other rather than at where is actually all of the money and how are we not sharing with one another. We can step back and work together to identify these larger issues in the world. Absurd times call for an absurd amount of love. And love is something that the people of this good congregation know how to do. And may we appreciate all of the ways that this congregation has, throughout time, shaped its members and shaped the community of Keene. And may we recognize the transformative power of being involved in shared ministry. And may we find the ways to sharpen our purpose as a congregation, to increase love and justice in the world, and also to look within ourselves to find our own sense of mission and direction. What is the purpose for each of you? What are the gifts that you bring to this world? How can you show up and know that you matter and what you have to bring matters? May it be so. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing our final hymn, hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Elizabeth England is going to come forward to extinguish our chalice. Please find the chalice extinguishing words in your order of service and join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. Wake now my vision of ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share, work toward a planet transformed by our care. May it be so. Go in peace.